Hello there, it's Susie Walker from Psychologies magazine. I am here for our 9 a.m. broadcast for Mental Health Week, and I am joined by the fantastic Ali Knowles, who is from Ollie and his Superpowers. She is a specialist therapist who works with children and training other people to work with children, teachers, therapists, parents, about how to boost and support our children's mental health. So I'm so delighted. We were just talking before we got on the thing. We both got very, very passionate about this idea of how can we do that? How can we support our children's mental health? So let's just start there. So first of all, welcome. What do we need to do on a daily basis to help our children, support our children's mental health?
Well, what we need to do is to be able to talk to them about their emotions and how they're feeling. But the problem is we can't, because we don't know how to, because apparently children is too big a subject and they can't possibly understand because they're not emotionally intelligent until they're at least in their teens or later. So we can't do it. So unfortunately, we've had it, apparently.
And what's your experience and how is that different?
Rubbish, absolute rubbish. You can. Everything that we do, and I think it's because I have learning difficulties, apparently, love labels. And so I need to simplify things. And I was working with adults, not children, and the first child that came along to me, it was really apparent that they had no idea what an emotion was. Because it's not like, you can touch your heart, you know where your brain is, but what's an emotion? And people were saying, stop being angry, stop being... And the only reason a child will say, I'm angry, is because they've expressed an emotion and you said, oh, you're angry. Well, that's a bit of an assumption, isn't it? How do you know that? They could be scared, frustrated, but they don't have the language. So what we did at Ollie was give them a language. And we did that by also freeing them from emotions. And adults, you can learn from this, and we do use it with adults. I have children come to me and say, I'm angry. That becomes everything that you are, or I'm depressed. And adults, I'm anxious. It becomes your label. It becomes who you are. And you can't be anything else. But if that's only a part of you, not who you are, it's a lot easier. So what we did with Ollie to give children an emotional language is we made every emotion that you can think of a part of you, like a crew member. You're the captain. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and if you do that, it's amazing. And this is what we do with children. So if a child comes to me and mum says he's angry, sort him out, I'll literally go, woof, pull angry out, cup my hand, separate it from the child. So now the child's not angry, just this part of him who's part of his crew. And if part of your crew's not happy, we need to talk to them, find out why. And then you can talk to this part and ask it why it's feeling what it's feeling. And the separation allows the child to open up and talk about it because it's not about them. And it also allows them to stand back far enough to come up with their own solutions for it. But the other lovely thing is I could say, oh, angry. And the child will say, no, actually, he's sad. So then you're actually talking to the right part as well. So you can give children an emotion. We're doing it all over the country. We've got kids pulling the part out, talking to it and solving their own issues. And we've got teachers and parents doing the same thing. So you can do it. We just need to be doing it at a very young age so that they have that all the way through.
I suppose it's, as you say, for me, it's like a training children in emotional intelligence, isn't it? As being, how do you, self-awareness. So it's being able to, for children to be able to acknowledge a feeling, to find out, I call it the kind of benign messenger, what are they trying to tell you? And then being able to say, okay, and I suppose once you start, rather than pushing it away or acting out, because as adults, that's what we do, then you can find a way through, they can do something differently.
Absolutely. We just need to rethink on it because I work in a lot of schools, and can I just say straight away, the teachers are really, really trying. They're not trained therapists, but they do know that if a child's not in a good place, they're not going to learn. But they actually care too. But when I go into these schools, a lot of the therapy that the kids are receiving, if they are really struggling, is behavioural. So if a child's kicking off or whatever, there'll be a behavioural therapist that's working with that behaviour and trying to change it. And I think, again, not just children, because Ollie's not just about kids. If you just work on the behaviour, so if you came to me and, I don't know, you're not sleeping, okay, that's the behaviour. Let's put that on the top of my tree. on the branch.
Yeah.
If I just did, blah, 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 there you go, sleep, and I hadn't dealt with the driving force of that behaviour, which is an emotional driver,
yeah,
then you might sleep, but then you might start snacking or doing something else. The behaviour will morph into something else. That's what was happening in schools. They were changing the behaviour, or trying to, but because they hadn't got to the root, then the behaviour would come back. So then you have this persistent problem. Certain children really can't be helped. They're beyond our help. It's because you're dealing with the wrong damn thing. And it comes back to this assumption that we can't teach kids what an emotion is. But if it's a part of you and part of your crew, it's something kids can relate to, and then you can. We've had amazing success.
Well, tell us about the success, because I think if we have got any teachers or head teachers, or I know we have government ministers that watch this these broadcasts. So, you know, what kind of success have you had in school?
Everything's about measurables. So I'll give you an example of a school local to me. I'm in Cambridge. The teacher there, she was an interim head who'd come into the school, and there were 12 kids. They said they're in about year 5, year 6, 12 of them, and they were at the point of being expelled. Now, my understanding is for the last 3 years, they'd had a therapeutic company in there all day, every day, working with these kids, but these kids were still about to be expelled. The reason being, because if you ask kids, they will tell you. It's like, all they had to do was kick off in classroom and they could go and play with the therapist all day. Go figure. We were given 6 sessions with these kids. So me and a couple of my Ollie coaches, who happened to be teachers at that school, and they'd done the Ollie training off their own back so they could be better for their kids. Respect. We took these kids on. We took 4 on each, and we had the equivalent of 6 hours with them. So we saw them once every 2 weeks for an hour. That was it. Not every blooming day. So that what we were teaching them, they could go away, practice, come back. I am so proud to say that within that timescale, 6 sessions, not all year, not a year contract, 10, 11 of those kids are back in classroom, behaviours suitably improved because we dealt with the emotion. The interaction with the family and the teachers is better. There's not teacher, parent, kid. There's a team now of working together. And we did that in 6 sessions. And one of them, unfortunately, there was just too much going on at home, nothing we could do. That's what we do. Everyone goes on about it costs too much blimmin' money. No, it doesn't. It doesn't. If you're dealing, it'll cost you an awful lot of money if you're not dealing with the right bit, because you'll be messing about forever up there. But you deal with this,
it goes away. So give us an example. So I think, you know, we've all had experiences of when our children are acting out or they're struggling at school. How should we approach that with the Ollie method, as it were? So where do we start? I mean, you talk about the part. Where do we create a space and time to listen, or how do you set it up? What do you do at the beginning?
Well, first of all, and I'm really glad that we're doing this remotely, because I say this in front of teachers and parents, and then I get ready to duck for the punch. There are no bad kids. I'm not saying there's bad parents, but there's no bad kids. Everything they're doing to get a reaction. So then we'll say, oh, they're attention seeking. They are, but don't dismiss it. That's a behaviour. Why are they doing it? So the thing to do when your child's struggling with something, and I know this is easier said than done when we're very stressed out, but that's something else you need to do, which is put your oxygen mask on first, and that's so important. But literally, okay, I can see you're a bit angry today. Can we talk to angry? What's going on with angry? How can we help him? Oh, you're a bit sad today. Can we talk to sad? And parents do it too. And the lovely thing that I do, and I really do this, right, because it isn't just for kids. I'll get up in the morning and I'll think, right, what have I got today? Well, I've got a chat with you. Scary, but I could be brave. So I needed brave today. Bit later on, I've got to phone my mum, and I haven't for a while. So actually, I need brave again for that one. And I literally, in my mind, I'm thinking, what superpowers do I need today? Superpower. We call them superpowers to the little guys because it makes sense. But you can call them anything you want.
Resources, healthy emotional resources. Yeah.
My favourite was this teenage lad who was given to me in a school in London, and with severe anger issues. And when I said, you know, you've got severe anger issues, he said, I'm not angry, I'm vexed, innit? So we spent my time with him, 3 or 4 sessions, working on vexed, innit? Because if I'd have worked on anger, we'd have got nowhere. So help your children choose a team. In fact, it's a lovely thing to do over breakfast, but mums and dads do it too. They copy you. You're how they learn. You're how they work the world out. They're low bank kids.
So you could do it. So I could, I might have, be stressed or, as you say, worried or scared. And then it's like, okay, I pull that part out and I say to it, okay, what are you scared of? Well, I'm scared of making a fool of myself. I'm scared of getting hurt. I'm scared of whatever it is. And then what do you do, though?
Well, the lovely thing is, if we use you for an example, so you pull scared out because you're scared of getting hurt or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay. If you could feel something that was better than feeling scared that would help you today, what would you rather feel?
Excited.
Wow. When was the last time you were really excited?
Okay. Yesterday.
Okay. Was it little excited or big excited?
It was little excited, but yeah. Yeah.
But when you think about it yesterday and you think about it being little excited, I wonder how we could make it bigger just by thinking about it.
Yeah. Yeah, I can.
And all we need to do today is maybe the person you need on your team today is excited, so it can help scared a little bit and a little bit of brave. I don't know, what team do you think would help? Only little. Who can we help him?
Okay, I think brave and excited, and maybe I think brave is the one I really need, because they just need to be, it's just like my warrior, brave warrior. Yeah. It's like Avengers Assemble, isn't it? It's like my son and I, he's a teenager now, but
superhero superpowers.
I have this music on my my Spotify account, and when I get really scared or I've got a big meeting or whatever, I play the Avengers Assemble music, and my son laughs at me, but I'm like, and I listen to that music, I'm like, whoo, and I go in, and it's a kind of a music is a prompt for me to kind of get.
You're doing something very, very clever there. It's an anchor. It's a therapeutic thing where we can switch from one emotion to the other. And each of us, and this is something else we do in schools, right? We all presume that we all understand exactly what one another's saying and how we learn. But we've got different stuff going on. They're called rep systems. Another time, another place. But for example, I'm very kinesthetic. So if you want to teach me something, I need to touch it, feel it, as it ain't going to go in. If you're very visual, and you're just stood talking at me, you ain't going to go in. But if I'm very detailed and you're just showing me pretty pictures or letting me play with it, it ain't going to go in. So you need to be able to judge that too.
Yeah.
But the lovely thing you just did was you created yourself an anchor. So you're obviously very audio, because music.
Yeah.
I'm very kinesthetic. So if I want to change my emotion, I'll cuddle an Ollie or something. I'll do something.
That's right, because just pull out Ollie there for a second, because that's your mascot, isn't it? Ollie is Ollie and his Superpowers.
All right, mate, we'll take it. Yeah, he's our boy.
So it makes sense. You're kinesthetic, as in you're the kind of touchy-feely learning style. For you, holding something is important, and for me it would be listening. And if you're a visual person, what things that you would
a really good presenter or a really good trainer or teacher, ideally you'll have visual things going on, so the visual kids are engaged, but there'll be something you can touch and feel and play with for the kinesthetics. But at the same time there'll be just enough detail at just the right pace for the guys that need to just click 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 click. And I do a lot of training. I train therapists. You have to be aware, in that room I've got a mix of all of those, and if I can't move between all of those training ways, I'm going to lose half my group. So, but we do train our therapists to be able to switch from one to the other, which we all can do if you're aware. And that's a good thing, actually. Sorry, going off on one, but anyone that's got teenagers out there, you can't communicate with them, right? It's unfair, all that, especially at the moment. They're probably on a different rep system. Listen to them. One of the ways I do that is I get new clients to tell me about a past holiday. And if they say, oh, yeah, the sand was so soft, the sea was so warm, kinesthetic, yeah? If they tell me the colour of the water or the colour of visual, if they just love the peace and quiet, if you can notice that in your children, because I promise you'll all be different, and your partners, and just adjust your language to use their language. So you're very visual, so I talk to you about how beautiful it must be where you live, to be able to look out of the window and see all the things you can see. And I'm likely to more engage you than I am if I use very detailed or kinesthetic language. So
okay, well, I'm going to try that with my 17-year-old son after this call.
There's a lovely, very simple test that I can send you, and it's quite insightful to do it with your kids, with your partner, and see how different you are and why you bang heads and feel like you're not being heard sometimes.
Yeah. And again, it's as you say, these are really brilliant, concrete tools that people can learn about how to communicate with their children, with each other, with them. So, you know, if you can, you know, talk to your partner and, you know, and less stress about that support you need, then you'll be less stressed with the children. So these are just what I love about your work. As you say it's simple, but they're just really strong foundational tools around that we should all be learning, whether it's, you know, children or adults. I just love what you do. I really do. So I know you've got a course that people can take, which is what tell us a little bit about the course.
Well, we've never put anything online before. I'm obviously retrained therapist. That's a separate thing. Although if anyone wants to join us, we need more Ollie coaches because we are going to get into
the program. Louise Berry's asking. Louise, down below there's some links, so have a look there. And if you just want some tools and for people to do that, what else?
Yeah, we've just put a course online. I think the grown-ups that behind me, my minders, as I call them, have called it Ollie's Emotional Resilience course. I've called it Lockdown. Okay, it should be about 200 quid because that's what it costs to put these. We put it out there for 40 quid because I want it to get to every blimmin' parent and family. Yes. And it is full of how to do this, pull the part out, work with it, how to set yourself an emotional anchor so that you don't get overrun by all the stress and anxiety, which isn't good for you, makes you poorly, bad time to be doing that.
Yeah.
And a load of really cool things for you and the kids to do together. So, yeah, please download it, have fun with it. And if you love that, then, yeah, we're looking for Ollie coaches.
Okay. But I mean, what I would hold out for you is like a really big vision of it. You know, I love the kind of one-to-one work you're doing, but my biggest vision for you is that you will be able to train teachers, parents, and that we get this information to as many people as possibly, that it's kind of embedded in our system. So we're not dealing, as you say, with the behaviors of bad kids, but we're actually being able to start to have emotionally intelligent interactions with our children and with each other.
We're doing it. We're in schools now. Every school that we work in, we can provide the one-to-one for the kids that are really struggling. Okay, get them back in the class and in a good place. We work with the teachers, so the teachers are using the same language, and we work with the families that they're using the same language, because otherwise, and that's what's going on. There's a little bit of this, a little bit of that. It's all confusing, but one language. We're doing it, and we're spreading out and getting into more schools. The results are amazing. But here's why we need to do it right. This is what's going on right now. We've got really strung out adults. We're strung out because we don't know if we should be doing this or doing that. Should we go in? Should we stay out? Go out, but don't go in. Stay out. All that, right? We just don't know. And the reason we don't know is because we're afraid to make a blimmin' decision for ourselves anymore, because we've got not enough self-worth and self-belief. That's why you're all stressed out, because you don't know. You're trying to control everything. You don't back yourselves, parents. Nobody knows better what to do right now than you. Nobody else. Not me, not a book, nobody, you. But imagine, right? Because I see kids, 10, 11, 12, self-harming, eating disorders, going off the rails, getting into gangs and county lines. But imagine if we taught them from 3, 4, 5 that they can control their emotions rather than be controlled by them, that your emotions are part of your team and you just have to work with them and help them. Imagine if we had kids that could think for themselves, that weren't prejudiced, that weren't racist, weren't easily led in various directions. And I can tell you the kids that we have done that with aren't struggling anywhere near as much with the fears of lockdown as the kids we haven't got to yet.
You're absolutely fantastic. It makes me feel really emotional when you're talking. So I always know that's a really good sign, because it's that thing of, how can we help and support our children? How can we help and support it's so accessible what you're talking about. It's, we don't have, to go to therapy for years and years and years. This is, you're in and you're out, and you can teach it. And as you say, have a common language that we can all.
Sorry to interrupt. You just hit a really cool thing. One of the key things, it's makes me laugh. Somebody comes and sees you as a therapist, and I'll say, so how long has this been a problem for you? Depression. Yeah. But, for 20 years. Right. Okay. And they'll say, how long do you think I'll need to work with you? And I'll say, no longer than you need to. But on average, it's 6, 7 sessions. That is it. Because I'm not going to fix you. I can't. I'm not going to give you advice. How can I? I'm not you. But what I do is give you the tools for you to move forward. And people are like, well, no, I've struggled with this for 20 years. Surely it's going to take 20 years. Well, that's lovely for therapists that are willing to do that, because they'll happily take your money for 20 years. That's not what we're about. We're about empowering you so you don't need us.
Well, I think there's a piece there around identity, isn't there? It's like, I am depressed. There's what you said earlier. Rather than there's a part of me that is hurt or vulnerable or traumatized, and being able to, we spoke to an amazing therapist yesterday, Dr. Richard Schwartz, who talks about parts therapy. And I've been doing some of his audio book, and it's made total sense to me as well, because you're talking to those different parts of yourself. And you know, and it's been, and I'm like, oh, amazing. Yeah. So I think it's, you know, and that's you know, that therapy is the kind of the most well-known and acclaimed therapeutic tool in America. So do you know what I mean? It's like, you know, let's work with what we've got here. So
that's exactly it. Ollie and the Superpowers is parts therapy. And seriously, right now, anybody that's listening to this or watching and something's really bothering you, feel really this or really that, humour me. Pull it out, hold it away from you, separate it. Because if it's too close, you can't think.
Yeah.
And just say, okay, you're a part of me. Honour it. Don't dismiss it. It might be making life hell, but honour it. That's really key, that you honour what you're feeling. You're feeling it for a reason. You just say, okay, how can I help you? Because you can help it, but you can't help it when it's all you are.
Well, and you can't help it when you're ignoring it, and when you're dismissing it, and when you're saying shut the up.
If you do that, it's just going to get bigger and bigger and bigger and go poof.
Yeah, and my belief is that that's when the behaviours start. You know, that's when we start eating or drinking or joining gangs or whatever it is.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, absolutely. Ali, this is absolutely fantastic, and every time I speak to you I get even more and more enthused. Thank you so much for your wisdom today. Really, you're doing such a fantastic job. Keep on going, keep on kind of supporting our children's mental health, but also, you know, the parents' mental health, for all of us really, whether you're a parent or not. Thank you for your time today. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye, Ali. Bye-bye.
Bye.